Good afternoon. This is Joe Krutsinger with our monthly posting of updated settings for TradeStation and Ninja. These will be ready for October 4th's trading. Today is October 3rd. Let's get started. All track records are simulated. These are the disclaimers for the simulated track records. You can get a copy of the PDF from me by just shooting an email, and I'll kick it out to you. Also, if you'd like the TSWs in your client, I'll be glad to provide those for you either by email or by just installing them using TeamViewer. I bring this slide up every month just to show you how a market system can change. This is an example of shapes tuned on the original Russell. It was tuned on June 23rd of 2013. The tune has not ever been changed. It's a blind walk forward for that whole period up till now. You can see that red line, which is a trend line basically, on the equity curve. When it breaks that trend line, the idea is pull away from that system and wait for it to turn back up and get back into groove with that. This time coincides basically with the Trump arrival as far as in the political scene. It's kind of interesting. But this is how a system that can be very good over a long period of time, it's still up over $33,000, can be in an extended drawdown. And so my advice to you is to watch your equity curves like a hawk, and we've got plenty of strategies to pick from, and pick the ones that are in tune with current markets. Now these are the settings. I put them out every month. You can change them. They change very seldom by very much. There is an example today though, the mid cap, which is the number 3 of Joe's Best. The 10-minute bar just doesn't test out. The 60-minute bar does, so I've changed the bar length, and so these settings are for the 60-minute bar on the shapes. Here's the Razor settings, and just to bring your attention, I've been running the mini Dow on Razor for 6 months now in real time. This is the real model up there at the top, and it's up about 80% on the money, so that's pretty good. That's what I'm staying with, and I suggest you take a hard look at that on your chart. It's got a very small time window, it's got a very small stop, and it's out of it every day, before 12:11 actually. Here's Razor with ribbons, and I have added the Russell over at the far right. Hasn't traded long enough to really watch for track records, but I'm giving you the settings in case you want to watch and play with it. This is the new Russell at the Chicago with Chicago time zones. Here's bar none. It hasn't been included in Joe's Best because it wasn't in that 19-month test, but I suggest you take a hard look at it because it's done pretty well. If you look at the just as I've added with all of them, shapes, Razor with ribbons, and Razor, I've added the Russell 5-minute Chicago to the bar none. I'm not tracking performance yet until it's performed for at least 3-4 months. Here's the blind walk forward for the original 3. We can see that Razor was basically the best over this period of time. The best one in Razor was the mini NASDAQ. It's done pretty well. The rest of the stuff, really not much at all. When you're talking about trading 6 markets, like for instance in shapes, you're trading $600,000 worth of product, and down a couple grand isn't too much, but it is still drawdown, and we've been watching that. So you want to watch those equity curves, like I stated earlier. Here's the blind walk forward for Joe's Best and for the bar none and the original shapes. They're all there on that same slide, and we can see in bar none, out of the 6 markets, 2 of them failed and 4 of them made money. Not a whole lot there. And in Joe's Best, the best one was the mini NASDAQ and the mini Dow. Both of those 2 have done pretty well in the Joe's Best, and that's what we talked about last month, was watching the mini Dow and the mini NASDAQ forward. We'll look at the summary here in just a moment. To me, this is the most educational slide in the presentation. This shows you all 5 with really shapes, Razor with ribbons, Razor, bar none, and Joe's Best, 5 areas, and all 6 markets. And we can see, looking at the top, that the mid cap 400 was the weakest. Every system except bar none was a loser on that particular item. On the mini Dow, it was the strongest. Every system made money except Razor, which only lost 280. So picking what market to trade, you want to take a hard look at that mini Dow, and taking a look at what system you want to trade, you can look at that bottom. The bar none, with 4 out of 6 of them making money, was the best system. So, you know, maybe the bar none on the mini Dow is the way to go. I don't know. But what I'm doing, of course, like I told you before, is the mini Dow on the Razor. I've done that now for 6 months, and we'll look at that performance here in a moment. Now this next track record is not a simulated. It is a real one with real slip and real commission. It's my IRA account trading on the mini Dow with the Razor. The latest tune is in there now. This showing 5 months and 28 days and 7 hours. That's basically 6 months, making $24.71 on 93 trades. 50% were correct. You made about $1.40 for every dollar you lost, and the annual rate of return on $5,000 is 80.93%. My stuff doesn't get a lot better than that. That's what I like. I like something with a small stop, a drawdown that I can handle, and something that, you know, brings a good return without a whole lot of risk and no overnight risk. And that's the mini Dow on the Razor is the one I'm trading. We'll shift gears now. We're back to simulated. This is going to Ninja Trader and looking at its records, and it can be tested for bar length. And Shapes on the E-mini comes up with a 36-minute bar using the Ninja software. And here you have the settings. The stop is 237.50, for instance. Once you make $150, you trail by 120%, and you're out by 11.20. Those are the details. And there's the equity curve to the right for the test period, which is about 4 months. Here's the FDAX using the Ninja software and Shapes. It comes up with a 12-minute bar, making $12,000 in this 4-month period. It's only 38% right, but it's makes pretty decent money, and you might want to take a look at it, especially looking at that equity curve. Here we show the FDAX with its equity curve, and we can see that over about half the trading period it really didn't do very well. And, you know, it was okay, but then it really took off this last little period. It only has a 210 stop, and it's kind of an interesting system. It's out by 12:10 Chicago time every day. The bonds really haven't tested very well on any system, at least of mine, for the last 3 or 4 months. This one is no exception to that. It does come up with a 79-minute bar, which is kind of a weird bar. Makes $3,682. 65% of the trades are correct in the back test. One of the things I don't really like about bonds is you almost always have to have a pretty darn good sized stop. And you know, you have 3 or 4 losers in a row, and it kind of hurts. So I'd be careful looking at the bonds on any of the system in this time period. Here's the mini NASDAQ using Shapes and coming up with a 45-minute bar. This 4-month period making $51.20. 59% is correct. Drawdown's light. It's only $5.70, so it's something to consider. This uses a $180 stop, and once you make $150, it only risks 30% of the profits. It's kind of a tight trail. Something else to look at. It does stay a little longer than most of them. It stays till 1:20 Chicago time. Here's the last of the Ninjas. It comes up with a 24-minute bar for the 4-month test, making about $3,000 on the mini Dow. You got a drawdown of $600, and it's right 73% of the time. Pretty strong equity curve, and it gets that because it uses a bigger stop than most of my stuff. It's a $310 stop. Once it makes $350, it risks 70% of the trade. So you know, it's in there just a little bit longer with a trail, and it stays through about 1 o'clock. Just a reminder, I'm here to serve. My main products are ideas, service, and support when you need it. All you need to do is go to eTrackRecords.com, pull down the support tab, get the TeamViewer codes, and email me, and I'll be glad to put in the new TSWs, install them, make sure it's perfect, make sure it's an exact copy of what I have. No problem at all. That's what I'm here to do. If you'd like a free red ribbon trial, just give me a call or shoot me an email. I'll use TeamViewer. I'll get on your machine and install all my systems for free for 14 days, and you can see if it fits with your trading personality and the kind of things you want. I'll also give you a blind walk test TSW with at least 3 months of back test, razor with ribbon shapes, and or bar none. Well, that's it for the month. The next step, of course, is call my office, 913-334-2202, whenever markets are open. You can reach me 24/7, 365 by email at joecrut@gmail.com. And, of course, our website with our blog on it is www.etrackrecords.com. Well, good luck and great trading. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.